There are some lies in our science books. Taught it for 15 years. Even though I'm not teaching it anymore, I still like to study. It's so many neat things to learn. We're going to cover some of that tonight.
Perception is being managed. We are being steered and guided by a hidden hand.
The whole world has been duped by the media that is not real.
Smart thinking, possible time traveler, smart thinking.
That night, boom, contact memory.
And then just, Alex, if you don't agree, you'll be sent to a re-education camp.
Just because I'm old doesn't mean I've lost my touch with the ladies.
A lot of people here tonight felt like they lost. You know why?
Now, experts are suggesting that we're in a golden age of shape-shifting reptilian sightings. Now, why is that?
I was, and still am, a huge conspiracy guy. I literally ran out of new tin hat topics to research.
It was most definitely not capable of melting steel.
Then I would be a crackpot if I thought that was the case.
Welcome to the Hypothetical Institute, a podcast about conspiracies.
My name is Luke.
I'm Salty.
I'm Cam.
Are you going to do your name every time? My name is Luke.
Yeah, it's kind of the band, the what do you call it, the patter I've fallen into.
Right.
You okay with that?
Yeah,
Should I change it?
No.
Yeah, that's fine. You are Robbo, though.
I mean, I can have multiple names. Some of the greatest people in history had multiple names. Eminem.
I introduced a friend in the States to the podcast this week. And they're like, oh, yeah, so who's Liam? I'm like, who are you talking about? They're like, Liam. I'm like, there's Luke. They're like, oh, yeah, him and Robbo, they're good. I'm like, wait.
I am doing the work of two people.
All right.
And both of them are good. That's no big deal. Thank you, listener.
Shall we begin, folks?
Yes.
Let's start with something fun. Bit of Nazi gear.
The bloody Nazis. We can't escape them, can we?
No. They can escape us, though, all the way to South America.
Are we going to do them first and then...
And then we're going to talk about the twin town of Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are going to discuss Black Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
Which is a lot like Black Bart Simpson, I believe.
What's Black Bart Simpson?
That's just when they make Bart Simpson black.
When do they do that?
On T-shirts.
Oh, okay. They also made him green. There was like the Simpson Martians T-shirt I remember seeing.
Right. Is it the same as Black Jesus?
I don't know if it's the same as that.
Yeah.
Before we go, we should thank our Patreon supporters.
Yes.
But especially Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
If you want to jump on Patreon and give us a little bit of support, we'd appreciate it. You can pledge anywhere from $3.33 to whatever you want. The sky's the limit.
Yeah. Tom pledges his own.
Well, the dome's the limit.
Well,
Firmament. Tom does $33.33.
It was a body solid number.
Yep.
All right. Let's begin. We are going to talk about this little town in Brazil where they've got a hell of a lot of twins.
Did you write down the town's name?
No, you did.
I sure did.
And what is the town's name?
Candido Godoy. I don't know if that's how it's said. My Portuguese
Sure.
is not great.
So it's not, and it's like a little village near that town, right?
6,000 people. So
Yeah.
it's a town.
Yeah.
Oh, a village.
A lot of German immigrants.
Yeah.
80% German. I think 13% Polish. So German or Euro immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
We know famously the Germans that emigrated to South America were the Nazis.
Yes. I think this was already German before the Nazis.
Someone had to go first.
Yeah. They
Scope
were
it out. My cousin. No, what accent was that?
I don't know.
I don't know. We'll lose that bit.
Yeah, lots of twins. Lots of twins.
So
700 twins for 6,000 people.
Yeah. Not identical twins, just fraternal twins.
A lot of them are identical.
No, this was I think there was a mix-up at some point about how many identical twins there were.
Oh, okay. I watched a thing from BBC, the news service, and They all showed identical ones.
But there's a difference, right? There's a difference between identical twins. You can get twins who look very similar, and identical twins, there's a difference. A lot of twins look alike, but true identical twins is a specific type of twin.
Yeah. They were showing these as identical.
Well, I think there's a lot of... What we'll learn very shortly is there's a lot of bullshit about this story.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that there being heaps of identical twins is one of them, because it is a separate thing to just the general twinning thing.
Yeah.
The general twinning thing is when there's 2 eggs which are fertilized. The identical twin thing is when there is 1 egg and then it sort of splits into 2 instead of multiplying within itself. And then it continues to split. Which doesn't seem fair that they get... Like they've skipped a whole split, really, haven't they? Like a whole... You know, when your little eggs multiplying, go from 2 cells to 4 cells and 4 to 8.
Yeah.
They've skipped a step.
Okay.
'Cause they lost one on the... So shouldn't they all be tiny or little people?
Don't know.
Cut this.
There is, but no, don't cut it, because there is another type of twin, right? Which is where the cell splits, but not properly. So there's 2 embryos, but one of them is sort of like the junk from the first one. So one of them becomes the primary one of them becomes the secondary one. Much in your sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny DeVito type situation.
Yeah, I was going to say, how much of our knowledge of twins comes from the movie Twins?
And I think that's how that works. And they usually look identical, but they're not.
Okay.
I know.
So one of them's like just a bit rubbish.
I know some twins that look very similar, but I think that's their situation, is they were this other type of twin.
Was it easy to tell, knowing them, who was the junk one?
Well, I don't think... I don't
know that's probably not how it works, but like the way you described it was like, you get the offcuts from the first one.
You look at them and you go, you guys look very similar.
Yeah.
But you could tell them apart relatively easily.
Okay. So in this the documentary I watched, they were talking about how, you know, they play silly buggers in school and all those twin things. So
as if you wouldn't.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is there is a high portion of identical as well as non-identical. But what you're saying is that portion is greatly exaggerated.
I believe so, because I think the main thing is that they're just normal twins.
Yeah.
Which is still weird. It's not that weird. They're like, this is the big claim of this town is we have the highest number of twins of anywhere in the world.
Not true.
That's not true.
I think there's 2 other that beat it, and there's about 5 or 6 in the same ballpark. One in Nigeria, which I think has the most. I tried to work it out on Wikipedia, but they didn't have the same types of figures.
Yeah.
So like this one, it was 700 people out of 6,000. The one in Nigeria was 50. For every 1,000 live births, there's 50 twins. It's like, I don't know how to work that out.
Yeah. And what are we not counting by making only live births?
Yeah.
Is it like 100% of the non-live births are twins? Because that's much more newsworthy.
I guess maybe it's a census thing. They're not keeping strict numbers on the town or whatever. But
plus, Robbo was too busy trying to put a we together to do some simple maths in his head.
Why are you going to bring that up?
It's a fairly simple operation. You just got to put the bar on top of the TV.
Yeah, the bar was in an awkward spot. My lounge isn't set up for it.
Okay, anyway.
Fucking hell.
Can you stop derailing things, please, Robbo? So the thing about this little town in Brazil, though, which differentiates it from these other little high twin towns, is that they don't have the ghost of one Josef Mengele looming over them.
Who is Josef Mengele?
He was a Nazi. I think he was like the chief Nazi medical guy.
I think he made the decision on who gets killed and who doesn't. Basically,
he was
in Auschwitz.
He did a lot of. What he's most known for is doing a lot of experiments.
We talked to him about him like 1 or 2 episodes ago.
That was a different guy. That was a guy that was like doing specific experiments about like withstanding cold and things. Mengele was doing a lot of similar stuff.
Oh, right. So Mengele and Mengels are two different people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. You learn something new every day.
I mean, two Nazi scientists with Menge names.
Mengele,
I can see why.
So he did a lot of really fucked up stuff. And he's sort of known for focusing on twins to a certain extent. I think so. The idea is that you see in a lot of the stuff about this town is that he was trying to continue the research that he began in Europe, which was to. The way they put it is that he's doing all this research to promote the reproductive abilities of the Aryan race. That's all he was up to.
Yeah. So I guess having people to have more twins.
Yeah.
And then more. If you get 2 for 1, you've bloody got more Nazis on your hands.
That's just common sense value.
Yeah.
If I go into a shop and there's like I'm gonna go buy a drink.
Yeah.
And I only want one drink.
Yeah.
But there's a 2 for 1. I walk out with 2 drinks.
Yeah. That's just how it works.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to go in a shop and walk out with 2 Nazis?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's a bunch of, even after it's proven that Mengele has nothing to do with this town, there's still heaps of stuff out there about how he definitely does, and it's all about him continuing his, compared to some of the other stuff the Nazis were doing, not so bad research. But the thing is, that's all bullshit as well, because his research in the camps wasn't focused on trying to make more twins. He'd do shit like he'd poison one twin and then he'd take the blood out of that twin and put it into another one.
Right.
To see what happened.
Okay. It wasn't fun research.
No. And like just chopping off arms for no reason, seeing if the other twin felt anything.
Right.
Apparently he was really weird.
What is
if
that?
you can believe it. But he was
what
weird.
What does that gain for the Nazis?
Well, they
just fucking loved doing that shit, didn't they?
Apparently he was just a bit of a psycho.
Okay.
But he'd be like really kind to the children that he was experimenting on, like up until the experiments.
Yeah, okay.
Because they had their own little area in the camp, which was, supposed to be a bit nicer.
Yeah.
But then, he'd be nice. He might bring them a sweet one day and send them to the chambers the next day.
Yeah.
Which I think is not as nice as it could be.
No, that's I don't think it's a nice person that does that kind of thing.
It's actually quite mean.
Yeah. So I did read a claim. This fella wrote a book. The book was called Mengele, the Angel of Death in South America. This guy's name was George Camisara. He claims that the first twins, they didn't have any twins in this town until Mengele was spotted around the town. So he never actually lived there, but he was spotted a bunch.
Maybe.
And he also, and a lot of people saying that he was like coming to town as a vet and working on cows and stuff. Anyway, apparently the first twins, they weren't there till he came around, but that's not true.
No.
This town was already quite...
Twin headwind.
Yeah. So I'm already questioning that guy's research.
So yeah, the idea, after the war, Mengele pissed off. He had some papers in someone else's name and he went down to South America, where I have to say, look, all respect to Simon Wiesenthal and, Mossad and everyone, all the good Nazi hunters. I love a good Nazi hunt.
Yep, sounds good.
I feel like they dropped the ball on Mengele, especially because at one point he was just going by the alias Josef Mengele. He just dropped the F. But I mean, at one point he went by a bunch of different names, but at certain points he just went back to Europe. He went to West Germany.
I think he holidayed in Switzerland at one point as well.
But he actually went to West Germany.
Yeah, right.
And got like all of his actual papers. Like went to the office and said, "Oh, can I just get my papers? Oh, it's Josef Mengele." And they're like, "Oh, yep, I'll just pull that out." It's like that's the time to arrest this bloke.
Yeah.
He's in enemy territory.
They didn't.
No, but yeah, I think there was a plan to extract him at one point, but Egypt came up and they couldn't. They're like, "Oh, we can take care of Egypt, or we can
get this Nazi."
Anyway, he was living in South America. he was doing some medical stuff. He did get picked up for practicing without a license with a bunch of other dodgy Brazilian doctors at one point. He's suspected of having done abortions and things like illegal abortions or, behind the scenes sort of things. There's really no evidence that he was this vet.
Yeah.
People said this vet would come around and be like, oh yeah, I can sort your cows out. But he was also like, if you need any humans inseminated, I can take care of that as well.
And treating people and always taking their blood was something that he allegedly did. If people came to him for medicine, like they had a cough, oh, yeah, just take some of your blood. Oh, wait a minute.
That could just be any dodgy Brazilian doctor.
Yeah. I imagine you could sell blood, I don't know, pretty easily in Brazil.
Yeah, or maybe he was just taking it to do tests on.
Yeah.
Like a thorough doctor would.
Yeah. I can't imagine small town doctors anywhere in the world were taking blood out that frequently, though, were they?
I don't know.
I remember hearing a story once from years ago about one of my friend's granddads who ended up in a German hospital in the war, and he had lost his thumb in an accident, and the Germans stitched his thumb into his leg.
Okay.
As part of an experiment to see if it would grow his thumb back. And his thumb just grew this big weird knob on the end of it. And they took it out and were like, oh yeah, sweet.
So hang on. So putting it on his leg somehow flips the body into growing the thumb?
He had a severed thumb.
Yeah.
They slit open his leg and stuck his thumb in his leg.
Stuck his thumb in the leg?
In the leg.
Okay.
And stitched it all up together so his thumb was inside of his body.
Like a little pocket.
Yeah. And I think the idea was that doing that, it might regrow inside his body.
What?
And you got a thumb in your leg?
Yeah. But then they just take it out.
And whack it on your hand.
And then
the hand was already attached to it.
They didn't take the bit that cut off and put it in.
Oh, right.
They took his stump and sewed it inside of his leg.
Wait, so his hand was always...
So his hand was... Just while he was in hospital.
Right.
Because they were experimenting. They're like, here's a guy who's lost his thumb. Why don't we bloody stitch his hand into his leg and his body might regrow his thumb?
Yeah.
Make him a little teapot.
Can I suggest it's the thumb's not that important?
Very important.
Sets us apart from the monkeys.
Yeah.
People
get by without thumbs every day.
Yeah, but
But here's the opportunity to try and regenerate one.
Yeah.
Why don't we take it? But yeah, so the end of his thumb was like this big weird ball.
So it worked. Something happened.
Something happened to his thumb when it was inside of his body.
I guess it just probably just didn't heal properly.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing to try.
The Germans are like, Jawohl. Whatever Jawohl means.
That's weird.
Yeah.
You've seen a thumb? You've seen this thumb?
Yeah.
Right.
He's long past now. But.
Okay. Jeebus.
So anyway, Mengele, no, wasn't him. He had nothing to do with twins in this town. There was a theory there was something in the water. They're like, no. Eventually they just got some actual scientists in, and they were like, well, I can't help but notice that you've all been fucking each other for the last 80 years.
A very insular community of people from the same country.
Yeah.
That don't really mingle with the outside world. He's banging each other.
Yeah. It was just inbreeding.
Yeah.
Which I guess if the explanation of your thing is inbreeding, maybe then the explanation that it was a Nazi science experiment doesn't sound as bad.
Yeah. It lends people to be like, ooh, mystery, and then not really thinking about it too much more.
Yeah.
Because they have like a twin festival and stuff. Like their brand is twins.
Yeah.
So if that is then just inbreeding.
Yeah. They're like, let's make this, at least we can get some of that Nazi money.
Yeah.
And if
we make it a Nazi thing.
Yeah.
If the side effect that's being had on your community from years of inbreeding is just twins and not mutant double-headed people like down in Tasmania, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
Jeez, Tasmanian gear.
Yeah. Aren't they famously inbred?
No.
Just a famous bit of interstate banter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a nugget of truth in everything, guys.
So they found one gene that a lot of the people with twins in their family shared. And they're like, this could be related. This seems like it might be related. We don't know, though. It's a mystery. The human body is the real mystery. Never mind your little Nazi stories. The human body's the real mystery, guys.
Now, speaking of Nazis and twins, I Googled Nazi twins.
Yeah.
And Prussian Blue came up.
Yeah.
I remember them. Do you remember them?
Yeah.
Do you remember them? They were on a Louis Theroux show once. They
the little Nazi kids.
Yeah, little Nazi pop duet.
Yeah.
Or country duet,
What are they doing now?
They're not Nazis anymore.
Not Nazis. They've just renounced it completely.
They're into weed now.
Yeah, one of them gave an interview and she said she loves smoking weed and listening to Bob Marley.
Right.
And they're alternative lifestylers, for lack of a better word.
What's their mum doing? Still?
They're actually
Nazi as fuck.
I think the mum's still a massive Nazi.
Yeah. I think they were in like college or whatever when the interview was published. So they were, probably had a Bob Marley poster on the wall.
Yeah.
Smoking a sneaky college bong. Good on them.
Yeah.
It's probably pretty hard to break out of that if you've been indoctrinated. Like their music was just horrible. As in the lyrics and everything.
Yeah.
Melodies, great.
Yeah, banging melodies.
Good melodies. All right. Anything else on these bloody Nazis?
No, but on Brazilian twins.
Okay.
If anyone wants to read a really, really good graphic novel written and illustrated by some Brazilian twins.
Okay.
Check out Day Trippers. It's awesome. By Gabriel Barr and Fabio Moon.
Good recommendation. And also, arguably, the best possible thing that Solji could have said after he's saying, now, on the subject of Brazilian twins. All right. All right, we're back. We're going to talk about Black Abraham Lincoln in a moment. There's been a bit of discussion amongst the Hypothepod crew about whether there were two Nazi scientists, one called Mengele and one called Mengels.
So Robbo and I have just decided that we've both been massively Mandela affected or fucking Mandela affected by this one.
Yeah.
Because a couple of weeks ago on an episode, I mentioned this psycho doctor Mengels who was doing all these experiments. And then earlier in this episode, I was like, wait, but who's Mengels? And Cam's like, no, that's another guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. And then I like sneakily did a little, I'm going to be better than you guys and fucking prove you wrong and look it up.
Interesting way to approach it, but okay.
Search for who this other guy I was thinking of was. And it's that guy.
Yeah.
And I, up until now, have always just assumed his name was Josef Mengele.
Yeah. Yeah, in my mind, there's always been a famous Mengels who was a bad Nazi dude.
Yeah.
As opposed to the good Nazis.
Yeah.
But it turns out there's not even anyone close to that.
No,
and Mengele is the only guy.
It's Mengele.
Yeah.
Mengele or whatever.
Mengele or Mengele.
So if you think the same...
Yeah. If you were listening the other week and you were like, yeah, Salty, you're right, that Mengels guy was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I remember that guy. And now you're also going, what?
Yeah.
Well, I think...
Addis.
If, like me, you heard them, they heard you say Mengels, they probably just thought you were just being quite informal about Mengele. Like, that's what you'd call him down the pub.
Yeah, no.
I didn't want to, cause a ruction by mentioning
No,
it.
if he's down the pub, you call him Mengos.
Yeah, Mango.
Anyway.
Mangos.
Hey, Mengos is here. Let's talk about...
Black Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
This is one you brought to the table. Just want to make that clear.
Yeah, well, I was watching...
Setting Rob up for a massive failure.
Yeah, right? Well, so Kanye West has been on a bit of a tear of late.
Right. Yeah. Kanye said it. Must be true.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, you want me to...
Go on, please.
Go on.
Anyway, and someone asked him about slavery because he said that the 13th Amendment should be abolished.
Which is?
Abolishing slavery.
Right.
I think Kanye was just not really that well informed. But someone said...
If you can believe it.
So does that mean somewhere else in the Constitution it says you may have black slaves?
Yeah, so I think...
And then someone's gone asterisks, see 17th Amendment. 13th Amendment.
I think so. I'm assuming that's how it works.
Right.
Never actually read the Constitution.
I don't know why they don't just delete that bit. Just scratch it out.
Because they're like insanely for you can't change constitutions.
But you can amend it.
But you can amend it if you've got a line in about slavery.
Yeah, right.
So someone asked Kanye West about that, and he said, "Do you know Abraham Lincoln was black? You heard of that one?" And the guy was like, "Yeah,
Yeah, of course I have.
everyone's heard of it.
Everyone knows that.
I hadn't. Had you heard this?
No.
Okay.
No, me neither.
So there is a long-running theory that Abraham Lincoln was black.
Right. And that's why he was so against the whole slave thing.
Yeah. Not that he was a
good bloke.
Yeah, just doing it with ulterior motives.
Yeah.
And he even referred to himself apparently as black a couple of times.
Did he now?
Yeah.
Was he just trying to be like solidarity?
Well, I think he wasn't. The Wikipedia says, but whether he meant either in an ancestral sense is unknown.
Right.
So whether or not he was just saying like
we're all black. If you go back far enough.
Something like that, or something. Yeah. It's not really clear, but he described himself in 1938 as black and his complexion as dark. So there are alleged photos of him that make him look really like a black dude.
Yeah.
I don't think they're
I saw
legitimate
one of
at
those
all.
photos and it looks like a completely different guy.
Yeah.
Just has the same beard.
Yeah. But there
Just
are...
any dude with a huge beard and a massive hat.
Yeah.
There are, a lot of people that think maybe he had like a black mother and his actual parents weren't his real parents or something.
Right.
Doesn't really seem to be much to it, but there might be.
They don't address any of that in Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
It's weird that they left that topic.
That's where I did all my research.
Yeah. I did mind watching the animated version of Amazing Screw-On Head, the Mike Mignola comic.
I don't know what that is.
Well, then I've got gear that you don't have.
So, yeah, maybe he was. Probably not, though.
I started to watch.
Maybe he had a black relation somewhere, and
yeah,
that's about it, really.
I did start to watch one video on it. Abraham Lincoln was black, and it come on, and the guy was just, I just fucking turned it off.
Was it the one that was just like a static image, and the guy was just chatting over it?
Yeah, like with that mesh-looking grey generic iMovie background, and then it had Abraham Lincoln is black, and then his channel name. And he just kept going, "Welcome to my channel. It's something history of society channel. This is where I talk about the history of society. That's why it's called the History of Society channel." I'm just like, fuck off, mate. Get a robot in to do this. And then I flipped forward a bit, and then he had the photo of Abraham Lincoln and then the black guy.
Yeah. And
he's like, "I don't know who this black guy is, but everyone knows the other guy's Abraham Lincoln." I'm like, and he didn't seem to be explaining anything, so I was just like, okay, I'm just going to walk away from this video.
This is my research done.
Yeah, I'm going to go look up the fact that he was from like Atlantis or an alien or something.
And?
There's heaps of gear on that.
Let's go.
Well, he had a really long...
You better have something.
He had a really long face.
Yeah.
And like, he was quite a big man. He was very, very strong.
Mm.
And I think he also had long... spindly fingers.
Like an Atlantean.
Did Atlanteans have long fingers? Is that what they had?
Well, this is part of the whole thing of... There was a bit of a theory that Lincoln had a thing called Marfan Syndrome. People with Marfan Syndrome have like really long limbs.
Mm.
And they're quite tall and quite lanky, like Lincoln was. Long fingers. There's a really famous horrorman who plays a lot of like horror characters in movies.
Oh, he was in The Conjuring.
Is this the same guy with Marfan Syndrome?
I think so, yeah.
And he's always covered in makeup. You never know what he looks like. But he's like got super long, really weird, spindly fingers and stuff.
Mm.
But they also think that's what King Akhenaten might have had, the pharaoh from Egypt, who was like in all of his statues. He has a really long, elongated face,
Mm.
and all those carvings of him and hieroglyphs of him, he has like really weird long fingers and stuff too. So they think he had that syndrome as well.
Slender Man probably had it.
Yeah, Slender Man definitely has it.
Yeah. Sorry, should I? Has not.
Has.
Yeah. Sorry.
Putting Slender Man in an early grave. But I think that was... People thought Akhenaten was different. He was very different as a pharaoh. He's the one that introduced worshipping the sun rather than all the gods. I think I talked about that a couple of episodes ago. And there was that whole misconception that Egypt was fucking built in, like, the society was built overnight.
Yeah.
Comes into the whole thing of the Atlanteans coming. And I think that bloodline ran through to Abe Lincoln.
Right.
Which is why he was such an extraordinary person, because that bloodline come out, his fucking fingers got all long and he got all skinny.
And gave
him powers.
Yeah. Huh.
Or an alien. Aliens are weird and long too.
No, good point.
But it goes back to all the skulls they found with all the long heads and stuff.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that was all related to that.
Is that why he always wore a stovetop hat to hide his long head?
Yeah. You see how much head he had inside that
Yeah.
hat.
It was a conehead situation.
Yeah.
I also gave up on looking up anything about Abraham Lincoln being black. And Salty mentioned a few episodes ago that Abe Lincoln was a giant truther.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I found...
So famously quoted as saying...
his quote is something like talking about the bones of the giant races that walk the earth.
I think the quote is that Niagara Falls, right? He says something about the eyes of the extinct giants who used to walk these lands, whose bones rest in the hills of America. Blah, blah, blah.
Which even... clarify it first.
Well, I looked up the whole quote, and he's talking about like mammoths and mastodons and things.
Yeah, okay.
But then...
Is he though?
Well, that's the thing. People are like, no, those are two separate sentences. In one of them, he's talking about the bones of the giants that walk the earth, which rest in the hills of America.
The shepherds of the mastodons.
And then in the second sentence, he's talking about a separate issue, even though it is directly after the first sentence. So the fact that it's directly after the first sentence makes it clear that it's a separate issue. He's talking about mastodons and mammoths whose bones also rest in the hills next to their masters, the Nephilim.
So Abraham Lincoln's famous for abolishing slavery.
Yeah.
I feel like he was willing to make a stand on something he believed in.
Yeah.
So if he...
Do you think if it was a giant truther, he would have just been like, guys, there were giants?
Yeah, he wouldn't just like mention it once. And we've got all of his letters like where he talks about many, many things that people didn't realise while he's alive.
Mm.
Surely he would have, when he's emailing, writing a letter to, I don't know, his old flame. By the way, giants. Totally into them.
Maybe his love of believing in giants was so all-encompassing that he didn't need to mention it. If he'd mentioned anything about it, they'd be like, oh,
here he is again. Yeah, maybe.
Let me read another historical account of
Here we go.
eyewitnesses. They wrote, tall palms were linked by a network of inextricable creepers, a carpet of moss covering the ground, and the leaves were colourless, everything having a brownish hue. Exploring the forest, they discovered a herd of gigantic animals, mastodons, which were being marshalled by a primitive human being, a Proteus. He stood over 12 foot high and brandished an enormous bow, a crook worthy of this antediluvian shepherd.
Whoa.
What's that an account from?
Yeah, Abraham Lincoln?
Rick Wakeman's Journey to the Center of the Earth.
So that famous historical document.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now...
They were shepherded, mate. They had shepherds.
I think you might have pilled me a little bit on Lincoln, because didn't he famously gave a speech that there's no record of?
Yeah, maybe.
There's one of his most famous speech. There's no record of what he talked about, but everyone who was there started a band. No, everyone who was there agreed it was like the most amazing speech he'd ever given.
Was that the 7 years ago one?
No, because we know what was in that. It was all about stuff that happened 7 years ago.
Yeah.
No, there's some speech he gave where they're like, oh, what an absolute cracker of a speech. All of the accounts of it are like, this speech was amazing.
Yeah.
Best speech he's ever done. Famously one of the most brilliant orators, and this was the best one.
Mm.
But no one knows what was in it.
Yeah.
It could have all just been about giants.
Yeah.
And they're like, it was a really convincing speech, but we can't put it in the paper because we can't talk about the Nephilim, or the Illuminati will fucking shut our paper down.
Yeah.
So does no one know? I kind of want to... I wish I'd looked into the speech now.
So
if it was that good, someone would be like, no, it was about...
Is there a plot of a movie or something where they're like, oh, that speech is actually hidden in the jacket of one of the jackets he wore at some point, and they find it, or in a watch or something?
Maybe National Treasure.
Is that in that?
Cage?
Does Hateful Eight have a Lincoln letter that they're all trying to get?
Yeah. Someone
got a letter
from Lincoln.
Yeah.
So the actual theory with the speech is that it was probably an anti-slavery speech, and it was probably a little bit more forthright than some of his later speeches. Because he was against slavery, but he had a lot of people that were pro-slavery that he had to deal with.
Mm.
So the thinking is that the speech was probably a very strong anti-slavery speech that wouldn't have played well.
Yeah. And also, if there's one that you might have been at that no one else knows what it was.
Yeah, just say how good it was.
Of course you're going to say it's the best. Nah, you had to be there.
Yeah.
It was breathtaking. Oh, you're talking about his other one, 4score and whatever.
Yeah.
Our one, he used a proper numbering system, so we all knew exactly what he was saying. He didn't just make something up.
So yeah, it was given at the Bloomington Convention, May 29th, 1856 in Illinois. Traditionally regarded as lost because it was so engaging that reporters neglected to take notes. The speech is believed to have been an impassioned condemnation of slavery. It's possible the text was deliberately lost owing to its controversial content.
That would never fly with the bosses. Oh, turn on that story, journo champ.
I was just too,
too good. Too
blown
good.
away.
Yeah, I didn't get it because it was too good. Yeah, if I had got it, it would have been a great story.
Is this just one where all of the journos are like, oh, he's just going to do some fucking speech. Let's all go to the pub.
Yeah.
And then they get back to the office and their boss is like, I heard it was a really impassioned bloody slamming of the whole slavery thing. You got that down, didn't you? Oh, fuck.
It was too impassioned.
So in 1896, attorney Henry Clay Whitney published his account of the speech.
Like 40 years later.
He claimed that he took notes.
Been busy, buddy.
Oh, right. So it wasn't that engaging then.
And no. He took notes during it and based his version on the notes. They don't seem to have put that here.
As in what he talked about?
Yeah, no. They're like, no, this article's about how it's lost.
Yeah.
It's going to stay lost. Speaking of like being super engaged with stuff, I remember, I think the first time I saw the music video for Tool song Sober, I watched it.
Yeah, it's a really good video clip.
I watched it and got to the end of it. I was like, I didn't even hear the song. I had to go back and listen to it again.
Good song.
And not watch the screen because I was like, I got too fucking engaged in the video.
Yeah.
So you, based on your experience with Tool, you think that these journalists could have been so engaged by the Lincoln speech?
If Lincoln
unveiled
a banger of a stop motion story.
Yeah.
Very tragic.
If he was doing something epic, some epic dance performance while he was talking and they were taken away by the dance and didn't hear what he was saying. They obviously know what he was talking about because they were engaged with it.
Yeah. I can see how that would happen. Have you seen the video clip to Sober?
Oh.
Very good.
Yeah. All of Tool's videos are great.
Yeah.
It's too bad all their fucking songs sucked after that one album.
So
at me, I dare you.
What else do we find on Abraham Lincoln?
Good bloke.
Yep.
Yeah, seemed like a nice bloke.
Good fighter.
Good fighter?
Yeah.
Right.
Famously really good boxer.
You know, in Fight Club, in the book Fight Club, they talk about how lanky guys had to have their own little side league in the Fight Club.
Right.
Because lanky guys are like really good at fighting.
Yeah.
And they're really like endurance. They're good at endurance and stuff. And so no one wanted to fight them.
Right.
So in the movie, that doesn't really come up. But it's in the book.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks.
So he's lanky. So he would have been a good fighter per the Fight Club.
But he would have had to have been in the little apartheid Fight Club.
Yeah.
Is that a good book?
It's really good.
I've never read the book. I've loved the movie though.
I've read a few of his books and I think that's probably the best.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff about Abraham.
They're also all the same story.
Yeah.
Right. So just read that one and just change the characters and the scenario.
Yeah.
Except in one of them, the page numbers go backwards.
What?
Oh, he's blown up the whole literary thing.
Wow. We're really going at two people with impassioned fan bases, Tool and Chuck Fallenberg.
There's a lot of stuff about Abraham Lincoln and his assassination, but perhaps we'll talk about that another day.
Oh, really? Because I did all the... I mean, we were going to talk about Abraham Lincoln things and now you're...
All right. Sorry, cut that.
Well, no, it's fine.
How long have we gone for?
19 minutes.
Well, do you want to pack the entirety of the Lincoln assassination into the next 10 minutes? Or do you want to do a full episode on it? Oh, look at this sad little face.
I guess we'll do a full episode on it. Hey, listeners, I had a really good gear Even had some jokes worked out. Can I just tell the jokes?
Yeah, what are you?
No, I don't have any.
What
jokes.
are your little jokes?
I don't have any jokes.
That'd be funny if you'd pre-written jokes. If you
Oh, hang on, let me check if I did
had pre-written jokes, I'd be asking the question, why didn't you do that before? And then if you said that you had, I would have some further questions to ask.
Wait, are you saying all my jokes?
You can cut this.
My bants are not up to scratch.
I'm not saying
His jokes was probably like, oh, at the opera, damn near killed her.
So when are we going to do this other episode? I'm just going to write that one down.
All right. Are we done?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just
Slightly short episode. That's all right.
Yeah.
So we're going to do another episode, John Wilkes.
Yeah.
Conspiracies.
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right. All right. If people want to find us online, Robbo, where can they do that?
I don't know. Hypotheticalinstitute.com?
Yep.
Cookedunits.com for our merch.
Yep.
You can look at us up on all the socials, or just Facebook and Twitter. Hypothepod on Twitter, and the Hypothetical Institute. Punch that into Facebook and you'll find us. Patreon.com/hypothepod.
Yeah.
And they can find you, Robbo.
At aleofatime.com. Keg Bottle Can is in all good bookshops if you want to learn about beers.
Yep. Great late Mother's Day present.
Yep. Great. Just a great gift for yourself as well.
Get it for your aunties.
Yeah. And yourself.
Yeah.
2 copies.
Yeah.
Salt.
You can get me at so much on Twitter or Instagram for my art stuff. I'm currently doing 2 daily art challenges for October. Doing Inktober and I'm doing Drawloween.
Drawloween.
So I'm doing two drawings every day.
Yeah.
Based on prompts.
Cool.
I'm doing them all in ink wash. So I'm like, it's completely different for me.
Wait, you've got Inktober, so that's got to be in ink. Is Drawloween, does that have to be in ink too? Or
No, it doesn't. I'm just chose to do it in ink as well.
Because you've got the ink out already.
Yeah. Well, Inktober, I'm doing completely in ink wash with no lines, no outlines. But Drawloween, I'm doing outlines and then ink washing within the lines.
It's been looking good so far. Some spooky little drawings.
Thank you.
October is probably the month with the most names.
Yeah. October.
Rocktober.
Yeah. Clocktober.
Glocktober.
Flocktober.
Yeah.
Right.
And Andrew Saltmarsh illustration on Facebook.
You don't want to keep doing this gear?
Check out Toe Hunter on Patreon.
You can find me at Sexenheimer on Twitter. Gather around me on Facebook and iTunes for my other podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Don't worry about a thing, except if all our world leaders are alien reptilians. I said don't worry about a thing, except maybe the fluoride in our water supply contains mind-altering drugs. Don't worry about a thing, except whether or not Port Arthur was a false flag operation in which to disarm Australia. I said don't worry about a thing. Except you can definitely hear John Lennon say I buried Paul at the end of Strawberry Fields forever. Ooh, don't worry about a thing. Except not only did Bush do 9/11, but he also keeps the planes out in Area 51, which, let's not forget, where all of the aliens are.